Hi there, Sherry. Great to hear from you, and thanks for sharing those notes from the folks there at what is it, at Outlaw Harley? Yeah. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of feedback here of sort of the process we go through if there's an issue for a build. It happens very rarely over the hundreds of builds that we've done, but of course it has happened. And the way we kind of diagnose the situation is what I'm going to go through here, and then providing sort of support or reimbursement or something like that. If we find that we have sort of built this incorrectly, if we've done something wrong, absolutely, we're going to make you whole and sort it out. It does happen, and frankly, while it's been very few times where there's a problem, most of the time the issue has been not that we didn't build the specification, but that the measurements were ultimately shown to be inaccurate from the side of the rider, and that's a case where we'll provide support and guidance and so forth. But if the measurements aren't right to begin with, there's not much we can do about that, and we don't cover any modifications or retrofits that happen. The other thing is that for the engaging in an outside mechanic, I absolutely understand. Makes sense. Somebody local, somebody trusted. The piece of it there is $500 is certainly more than it would have cost us to basically make you entirely new brackets ourselves, send them out to you. It would have been less expensive with that, and quite possibly would have been faster. So that's not in any way a reprimand. I totally understand what's happened here, but it sort of doesn't give us the opportunity, if there is something that we need to make you whole on, to do it in a way that's sort of time and cost effective for anybody. But let's take a moment and just to show you sort of what the situation is, and then that's how we can determine if there was something wrong or something off. The last thing I want to mention, that you said the base plate was a little off and so forth. This is where really it boils down to, we need to see photos, right? We need to see, like, in the same way a doctor would say, I need to see the imaging, I need to see the MRI, the x-ray, I need to see the wound, I need to see what the supposed issue was before all these modifications were made, because I have no way of sort of diagnosing if these mechanics who really weren't involved in the process at all and didn't really know maybe what they were supposed to line things up or how it was supposed to mount, if that was sort of a user error, and then they went ahead and rebuilt things that didn't necessarily need rebuilding. And it triggers my sort of my radar a little bit on that, because when they say the base plate didn't line up and so forth, those are fundamental things that we confirm through our team and through the documentation that we take beforehand, and sort of all of these photos on your page, all of this type of stuff, where we've really double checked everything before we send it out to you. So that the base plate didn't mount to the frame is unusual. Okay, very, 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 very unusual. So I have just to walk you through this. So I've clicked over here to the mounting page that you'll remember. I know it's been a little while, but this is where we have some detailed photos here and instructions of how this was set up, right, and where things were supposed to be mounted. We also have down here the video, the most recent video that we used to identify, where I reviewed the measurements with you for the double checking, as well as the mounting diagram. And the mounting diagram, right, these are the specifications for the build. So these are the measurements that you took, that we talked through, and that ultimately you approved. And so then the determination is, okay, did we fail to build somehow to these measurements as identified here? Is there something that was supposed to be 26 centimeters across, but we only did it at 24 or something like that? That's sort of the piece of this that kind of comes into question. If you're saying it was too short, okay, so what was it, and what was it supposed to be? Okay, so we built 8 and 10, And if it was an inch or whatever too short, of course this is in centimeters, but if it was too short, let's see that. We need to see, what happened. So one of the multiple kind of steps that we take before sending any cockpit out is to review. You kind of see here as I scroll through, you'll see that we go through with the measuring tape and sort of show what the measurements are in the build. Okay, and this is one of the tools that I use with my team to make sure that each one of these cockpits, each mounting, corresponds with the mounting diagram, right? We have the mounting diagram, we have the measurements, and then we visualize it to make sure that it corresponds. So if these brackets are too short, I have from here what we built to and the proof that what we did. I need to see then that essentially, is there something that's not corresponding here? Otherwise, it would be a case where yes, we built these to the specification as we're showing here, but the specifications were off, right? We might have goofed on the measurements, and again, it happens very seldom, but it is, ultimately kind of the rider is the one taking the measurements. We guide you through it and try and provide as much support as we possibly can. But, so again, here's when you say that it was too short. So the front bracket, 8 centimeters. If I go to our mounting diagram, 8 centimeters. So it's not to say that when you got it, it didn't line up and you're wrong. Of course, I'm not saying that. But we built it the way we were supposed to build is what this is indicating to me. And so that's where I need to see photos of the cockpit sort of on the bike, or at least the mounting and base plate on the bike, to see, okay, so I guess these legs were too short. And that would be an indication of, yeah, we might have had a user error here in the measurements that were taken. So I don't want to complicate things, but for us to sort of the consideration of reimbursement is we need to be shown, and we need to be able to kind of determine that we didn't build it the way we were supposed to, the way the mounting diagram says to do it, because these are the specifications that were ultimately approved by the rider. So hopefully this makes sense. Let me know, and if there's something, like, again, some photos that the mechanics took, or a video or something as they were kind of going through, that would help us then to determine what might have happened here. Unfortunately, it isn't a case where mechanics looking at this, maybe not having access to everything or not being inclined to go through and review the way it was intended to work and come together. Their incentive ultimately is sort of to identify what interventions they can do that they can charge for. And I am in no way suggesting anything about anybody. Simply that, well, I don't see it, I would think it works like this, it doesn't seem to work like this, but I can see that all I need to do is build this, this, and this, and I'm going to do it. The incentive there is to build their own thing, as opposed to identify what changes or what might be going on with the existing thing. All right, I'm going to leave it there because I know I've droned on a bit. If you have any photos, any sort of documentation in that sense of beyond kind of a written explanation, but something visual, so that I can compare this to the documentation that we have confirming the build, I'd love to review it and see if there's something that went astray on our end. Okay, Sherry, I'll look forward to that feedback from you, and then we'll see where that takes us down this road.